Okay, well, all that hype and everything, I'm not going to be able to live up to it, so. But thank you for coming. I know the chamber thanks you. I want to start by talking about Dion. Dion's last name is Maginnis. My last name is Maginnis. 90% of the people in this room who know me don't ever spell my name right. They spell it exactly like his. But Maginnis is the guys in the Braveheart movie that were the good guys. Right? That's where they are. And you know, the resemblance to Mel Gibson is amazing, isn't it? Dion is the person who pilots this No seminar. It has been extremely interesting. I've attended a few of them, and they've been really informative and whatnot. This one's not going to be like that, but I do want everybody to give a hand to Dion for what he does for this event. I also want to talk a little bit about the chamber. Steve did a lot about it, but you know, the chamber brings us together, and that's really super valuable. And this chamber does it better than anything I've seen, whether it was in North Carolina or in Pasadena, California, or here. They inspire us. They advocate for small business in a way that is very productive. They are getting in front of some of the top leaders. I happen to have been the founder for the Legislative Affairs Committee for this group, for the League City Chamber of Commerce, before it was the League City Regional Chamber of Commerce, and helped found the Public Policy Division. If you haven't gone out and been involved with the Legislative Affairs Committee and the advocacy groups through the Economic Development Council, I highly recommend that if you have issues that you need the streets paved for you to make it a smooth ride, get out there and get involved in those two committees. They will do wonderful things for you, and they will give you a louder voice to your representatives in the state and federal government. So, and the chamber staff is small. Aaron's here, Steve does a great deal, but it's like 3 people and a bunch of volunteers, and they put all of this together. So let's give an enormous hand for Steve, Aaron, and everybody who's with the Chamber of Commerce. And then thank you all for coming today. You are the community leaders. You are the thought generators. You are the people who actually carry the message of the chamber to all those folks who don't realize what a chamber can do to them. What's the membership here? $300. No, what is the member? It's $300 to join the chamber, just in case you wanted to sign up right now. But no, well, how many members do we have?
Oh, we have right around 700.
Okay, so there's 100,000 people in League City. We have 700 members in the chamber. We only need to get 99,300 more. All right, so get out there, get the word out, and get that up. But anyway, I want you guys to give yourselves a hand for coming and for being these kinds of community leaders. And there's a reason why I'm doing this, because I figured if I made you clap 17 times and then Dion and Steve made you do it, you'd wake up and you'd actually pay attention to what I was saying today. So I can't express to you enough what it was like when I was at the Bay Area Networking Circle meeting, and I told my group, my mastermind group, I want you to come in next meeting and be ready to do a 1-minute presentation on what you don't do. And they went like this. Yeah, so it's an interesting topic, and it's going to be more interesting to you when we get done than it is at this very moment. I promise you. It's ultimately about understanding and narrowing the definition of who we are. That's what we're going to get out of this today. I promise you. And so today we're going to do some exercises. You should all have a worksheet in front of you. You should all have pens. I didn't give anybody the excuse not to have a pen because I brought them with me. So, and you don't need to thank me for those expensive Waddell and Reed pens either. So this exercise was developed by a group called Bank. Bank can be found on the Meetup site. We are a mastermind group. We operate as a multidisciplined advisory council and referral source for all of our members. We have a meeting coming up on Monday at 4 o'clock, 4:30 for guests, 4 o'clock for the members, and we're meeting at Marine Max. And they have all the things you don't like. Free food, free wine, free soda, free beer, get to get on big yachts, meet people, interact. If you'd like to attend, you have my contact information on the Waddell and Reed sheet there. RSVP to me. I need to tell them how many cases of wine to bring in. Okay? So I'd love to see you there, 4 o'clock, 3001 NASA Parkway on Monday. We do meet the 2nd and 4th Monday of every month if you'd like to join us for that. You all have a sheet in front of you to write on. And so I need a volunteer to be a timer for me. Somebody know how to run the timer on it? Becky Sill, thank you. That doesn't get you out of writing on your paper, though. I want you to understand. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to write down 3 statements. I do not want you to write down this kind of a statement. I don't want you to write down, well, what I don't do is delay delivery of my product like my competitors. What I don't do, I don't want you to be negative like that. I want you to actually differentiate yourself with these terms. So what I want you to do is say 3 things that I don't do that make me different than my competition are. And I'm going to give you an example. I'm different than my competition because I don't focus on making commissions with stocks and bonds sales. That's a difference from me. Okay? So think about that. Think about it in a positive light. Think about it not trying to say something horrible or negative about your competition, all right? So, timer, if you will, please start your clock. You guys have 90 seconds to come up with these 3 wonderfully astute statements. 1. All right, pens down. Was that difficult to do? Was that challenging? Some of you no, some of you yes? Good. Good. All right. So now we're not even going to talk about it for a second. All right, so let's talk about sales and needs. So you can see at the top of the page the axiom for today. What's an axiom? Does anybody know what an axiom is? Somebody put your hand up and tell me what an axiom is. All right, Ray.
So, similar to a proverb, something that generally is always true.
Or it's an assumption that is believed to be true, right? And what is today's axiom? Ben?
Every sale begins with a need.
Say it again.
Every sale begins with a need.
Every sale begins with a need. All right, great. So Ray was the one who got the axiom definition for us. Ray, you have just won this beautiful nationwide duffel bag. Vanna, will you please tell him what he's won? This has an incredible amount of space inside of it. It has a pocket that goes very deeply into the duffel bag, and it'll stand up to any sailboat that Chris takes you out on, which is really saying something because I've taken some people on some rides, I'll tell you. All right, so every sale begins with a need. So the famous Zig Ziglar, those of you that are under 50 probably don't know who I'm talking about, but Zig Ziglar was a motivational speaker, and Zig said this: salespeople are the best people in the world. Every time you need something to buy, who'd you get it from?
Amazon.
Yeah, Clint's like such a millennial. Amazon. I needed a financial planner. I went to Amazon. I know that's not true because he is a financial planner. But every time you need something, who helps you out? Why, of course, a salesperson helped you out. Somebody helped you get your need fulfilled. They took you through the transaction that took you to nirvana. Woo! 20 cubic foot freezer, yes. So salespeople solve needs. Needs cause people to buy things. They buy services. They buy products. Sometimes they buy happiness or peace of mind by donating to a cause. Needs are interesting things. So every one of us has to find a need to make a sale, to get a donation. So think about that. As we go through our lives, we're talking to people, and do you know what happens to you every once in a while? You hear needs that you can't solve. If you're somebody who does a lot of networking, you hear a lot of needs you can't solve. So on your worksheet, I want you to tell me a need that you hear from your clients and your prospects and the people you meet routinely that you can't solve. Now I'll give you an example of one. So for me, this is what I get. Chris, I want to know what stock is going to make me a millionaire. Can you tell me what that is? And I say, no, I don't tell people what stock's going to make me a millionaire because I'm holding those for myself, for me, my precious, right? I'm not giving that up to you guys. No, that's not what I say. I say, no, just kidding. What I say is, look, I don't do that. I help people plan for financial resilience. I work with them on their estate. I help them adjust and take care of their risks. I work with them in such a way that their business becomes an asset rather than becoming a liability. I don't take care of stocks and bonds. I'm not really a very good investor that way. Let me introduce you to somebody who does that, and then I give them a name. Okay? So what I want you to do is, Becky, if you would please start the timer. I want you to go to your sheet now on the second part, and I want you to write 3 statements down. And these 3 statements are, what are the comments I hear routinely that are a need that I don't do? I don't fill that need. All right? Go ahead and do that. Let's take 90 seconds. All right. Now is the volunteer time. I need 2 incredibly brave volunteers. Who is going to volunteer? Thank you. You're Jeff? Jeff, thank you. Jason, okay. So, Jeff, what's your last name?
Rambin, R-A-M-B-I-N.
And Jason Lee? Yep. And again, Jeff, you are with whom?
Empire Creative Marketing.
Allstate.
Good. All right, both of you stand up. Get your sheet in front of you. You're going to need it.
Okay.
You have 30 seconds. Timer, would you set the clock for 30 seconds? Thank you. All right, Jeff Rambin with Empire Creative Marketing. What I'd like you to do is to tell me in 30 seconds what your name is, what company you're with, what you don't do that is different than your competitors, and what need it is that you don't solve.
Okay.
Are we ready? Go.
My name is Jeff Rambin. I'm with Empire Creative Marketing. I look for the needs and not my wants, and I don't know how to give people more time.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And to Jason.
Okay, my name is Jason Lee. I'm with Allstate Insurance. And we don't sell insurance as a commodity. And a need that I hear quite often is to help me find major medical insurance. We don't do that.
Okay. Thank you. Excellent. Let's give our speakers a hand. All right, so in this corner, weighing in at almost 114 pounds, Jeff Rambin, the vegan, I'm asking you which one's your favorite speaker. So if this was your favorite speaker, please clap. Okay. And on this side, weighing in at 115 pounds, Jason Lee, not a vegan, but definitely a bacon eater. And how did he do? Oh, that's tough. Come on, you guys. You're making it tough on me. It's a tie, but I can't split this. I know Jason personally, so I'm going to make sure that this doesn't look like a conflict of interest. Jeff Rambin, you've just won from Nationwide, my strategic partner, this incredible backpack.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good job. Good job. Give these guys a hand. All right. So by let's see here. I did that. Okay. So you'll see on the back of your sheets, which I cleverly hid on the back of your sheets, something about a trusted advisor. There's a lot of definitions out there about trusted advisors. When I did this speech last night for my wife and her girlfriend, they thought I meant trusted financial advisor. No, I'm not talking about that kind of advisor right now. I'm talking about the kind of trusted advisor we all are as people. All of us can be trusted advisors. And so, without further ado, I gave you the definition of what a trusted advisor is, and that definition reads similar to this, although mine's a little bit too stuffy, so I'm just going to say it this way. When you're a trusted advisor, you give people information that's in their best interest, not your best interest, not your self-interest, right? And when you do that repeatedly, and the information is beneficial, and it brings impact, you will become a trusted advisor to the person we're talking about. Repeated, beneficial, impactful, their best interest, not your best interest. All right? So have you ever been, Steve, would you stand up for a second? So you ever been to a networking event, chamber event, and this happens to you? Hi, I'm Chris Maginnis with Waddell & Reed. I was wondering if you'd be interested in Aflac stock. And listen, here's my business card. Could we get together for a meeting at... God almighty, do you want to shoot that person?
Wait, I got my checkbook out. No.
I mean, seriously, nod of head, say something. I feel like I'm in a room by myself otherwise. You know, Chris. So anyway, so that happens to you. That really freaks me out. And I don't like it. So how do we avoid that? How do we avoid being that person when we're networking, right? And how do we become a trusted advisor? First of all, let's see here. Who am I picking on now? Ruby, is it? Ruby, tell me, why do we want to be a trusted advisor?
So we can get more business.
Okay. Somebody else. Clint, why do we want to be a trusted advisor?
I think you provide value to other people.
That's a good reason. What's your name? Remind me.
You're going to do that? It's Katie.
Katie, tell me, why do I want to be a trusted advisor? Why do you want to be a trusted advisor?
So people can trust us and ultimately to believe in our business.
Right. I mean, in order to get referrals, in order to make sales, we all have to be somebody that we are known, liked, and trusted, right? That's key. Zig Ziglar says, again, we want to become trusted advisors because we want to be the best people in the world. We want to be the salespeople who solve needs. Now, I've been doing networking for 40 years, and you can tell that because I have all this platinum blonde hair on my head. And I can tell you a secret. When you go to network, you do not go to network to sell. That's not the purpose of networking. And as I said before, when you've been around the block a few times like I have been, you're going to have an awful lot of people tell you, this is going to sound like an exercise we just went through, a need you can't solve. Right? They're going to tell you a need you can't solve. Right about now, I have about 600 contacts roaming around in this formerly nicotine-stained brain of mine. And those are 600 contacts, honestly, that can solve needs that I can't solve, that are people I know, they're people I like, and they're people I trust to get the job done. I have 4 million contacts in my head, but only 600 that I know, I like, and I trust to get the job done. So when I go to a networking event, I don't want to talk about me. That's why this is so uncomfortable for me. As you could tell, I've been extremely nervous this entire time. I ask people this. What's your name?
Pamela.
Pamela. Hi, Chris Maginnis.
Hi.
What do you do, Pamela?
I work for CASA of Galveston County, which works with abused children, and we recruit volunteers, so if anybody is interested, to go out and speak on behalf of the children to make good placements when they're brought into care, they go into foster care or an adoptive home. So.
Or they can go from foster care to an adoptive home.
Yes.
Well, that's fascinating. It must be difficult work, though.
Yes, it is.
I'm sure it is. If you had one need that I could magically solve for you today that would make your business better, what would that need be?
160 volunteers to do that type of work.
So you need volunteers.
We need volunteers, yes, sir.
All right. You know, I know a place where you can go and get volunteers. I want to introduce you to Steve Patterson at the Chamber of Commerce. Have you met Steve yet?
No, I haven't. I've spoken with him on the phone.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to set up a meeting between you and Steve because Steve provides a special discount to not-for-profits at his chamber. And as a special not-for-profit person, you will now be able to get in touch with 700 community leaders who will spread the word about what you do and how you do it. I also want to introduce you to Dion Maginnis. Dion Maginnis is a Rotarian with the League City Rotary Club. And he can probably arrange for you to be a speaker at that club and talk to 50 of the most influential people in Galveston County. Would that be a help to you?
Yes, sir.
Then what do? I go back to the office and I connect them. If any of you have been on the receiving end of me, you know exactly what that looks like. I don't let go until you meet. If I have to bring you together personally and have you sit down at my lunch table, you're going to meet. Why do I do that? Because I want to become. And think about what that looks like now. What does Pamela think about Chris Maginnis? God. You know, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Right? Isn't that the truth? And Pamela's going to be like, oh, by the way, that's real. You should meet with Steve, and don't let Dion get out of here tonight before you talk to him about being a speaker. I mean, I mean that with all my heart, because that's what we do as Rotarians. And by the way, I'm on the board of directors for the Seabrook Rotary Club. If you want to talk to me afterwards, I'd be happy to see if I can get you to speak there. we are constantly looking for opportunities in Galveston County for volunteerism. So, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Think about what I've just done. I've brought a referral to Dion, who, by the way, is a consultant for not-for-profits and wants to meet all the not-for-profits he can. I brought a potential customer to Steve. I brought a referral to Pamela, 3 of them, as a matter of fact. If any of you are in network groups where you report the number of referrals you had this week, I just did 3. So, again, this is just an example of, I can't solve that need personally, but I solve that need for them because I connect them. When Jeff Rambin says to me from Empire Creative Marketing, I can't read my own writing. I look for needs, not wants. I look for needs, not wants. And he says, and I'd like to know how to give more time. Well, I do have somebody that can help you figure out how to give more time. I know a really good business coach that does time management training. And you will find out how to give more time. Jason Lee said that he doesn't sell insurance as a commodity. So when somebody comes up to me and they say, Chris, by the way, I'm looking for somebody who can get me health insurance. I say, gosh darn it, I really wanted to introduce you to Jason Lee, but he doesn't do health insurance. No. But you know what? He probably knows somebody who does health insurance. And while you're talking to him, you should really talk to him because, man, can he help you with your risks. So look at what's happening. I'm finding contacts. I'm making friends. I'm solving problems. I'm identifying needs. I'm creating referrals. I'm building my 600 contacts of people that I know, like, and trust. And as time goes by, Pamela, remember, you got to ask me over and over again. As time goes by and they ask me over again to solve a problem and I connect them to the solution to that problem, what happens? I become a trusted advisor. And when I give people referrals, what happens? Oh, you owe me, baby. I'm telling you. I mean, you owe me. All right. So when people I advise or the people I give referrals to have this need, I want them to remember that I need somebody who's a financial advisor. Bring me a referral, Dion. Bring me a referral. When they need somebody who's a business planner or a coach, particularly for a nonprofit, bring them to me. Say, Chris, I want to have an immortal not-for-profit. Or I need a guy that can make sure I can retire. Who do I want them to send people to? To me, right? They're a trusted advisor, somebody they know, they like, and they trust. So let's wrap this up. There's a section on the bottom of your paper that needs to be filled in. As you go through your life, as you network and meet people, remember these things. We network because we want to find needs to be solved. We network because we want to find people we can refer that we know, like, and trust. We network because we can't possibly solve every need. I've got to find people that don't do my job. I've got to know a lot of people that don't do my job. I must, as I said in the beginning, narrow the definition of myself. I must understand what I don't do. Thank you.